Let's take another look at integers and representing integers. So first, looking at identifying integers on a number line. What we always need to remember is that negative numbers work in the opposite way. So it's not 8, 9, 10, it's going the reverse. So I'm going to start at -10, count. This would be -11, -12, -13, -14, -15. This would be at -16. So the integer on the number line is -16. Number 2, what integer is plotted on this number line? Again, I'm going to start at -10. This would be -11. This would be -12. So the integer on the number line there is -12. A lot of times people will try to count this, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's not right. Over here, what integer is plotted on the number line here? I'm going to start at -30, go in the opposite way. -31, -32, -33, -34 is where that dot is. Number 4, we can start at 15, go in the opposite way. This is -16, -17, -18. If I kept going, it would make sense. -19, -20. So our dot is at -18. Now, same idea, but we're going to actually plot them. So plot -12 on the number line. I'm going to start at -10, -11, -12. So right on that number line, I'm going to put my dot. Number 6, plot -24. Well, we've got -10, -20, -30. So I'm going to start at -20 and count. So this is -21. This is -22, -23, and then we have -24 right there. Plot -6 on the horizontal number line. So this is +10, 0, -10. So I'm going to start at 0 and count backwards. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So our dot goes right here. Same thing here. -19. So we've got -10, -15, -20. I can start at -15. This is -16, -17, -18, -19. So that's identifying from a number line and plotting on a number line. Now let's answer these questions about opposites. So remembering that a negative sign means opposite. So anytime I see a negative sign, I'm writing the opposite. So negative sign is the opposite of, and then inside the parentheses, so these are separate, we have our first negative in 1. That's where I'm saying the opposite of, and then inside the parentheses, the opposite of 9. So it's the opposite of 9, because the opposite of 9 is -9. What is the value? Well, the opposite of -9, or the opposite of the opposite of 9, is +9. Opposite of the negative, which is 9. Let's try it again. Same scenario. Splitting this up. We've got our first negative here, which represents the opposite of. Then we've got our second negative here with the 15, which is representing the opposite of 15. So that first negative is representing the opposite of 15, or -15. So what is the opposite of -15? That's going to be +15. And one more time for good measure. we've got our first negative, which is the opposite of. So that's our first negative here. And we've got our second negative in the parentheses with the 3. So the opposite of 3, which is -3, is representing that second negative there. What is the value? What's the opposite of -3, or the opposite of 3 is +3. Now using our chart here to help us representing integers. So number 13, 1 made a profit of $75. So I'm circling my number. I'm highlighting the keyword profit. When I look on here, I see profit in the positive spot. So that is a positive value. I don't need to put a plus sign for positive. I'm just writing 75. Number 14, Stephanie is $20 in debt. So I see the word debt. I'm going to look for it on my chart. I see debt right here. Debt is a negative value, so -20. She owes money. That's a bad thing. Number 15, a submarine is 55 feet below sea level. So I'm looking on here. I see below sea level is on the negative side. That is a negative value. It's underground. The kite is at an altitude of 30 feet. Altitude, not one you hear as often, but I look on my handy dandy chart. I see altitude. That's the height of an object in relation to the ground. It's up in the air. The kite is in the air. That is a positive value. And then the last two scenarios, these tend to be a little bit trickier if you want to put a star next to that. So Jen is standing in her basement, which is at -10 feet. What would 0 represent in this scenario? So we're talking about a house. The basement is underground. So 0 would represent ground level, right? You've got kind of our 0. The basement is underground. 0 would be the ground level. Number 18, at the beach, Enrique saw a fish swimming 5 feet below sea level. What would 0 represent in this scenario? So again, if we're thinking about it as a number line, the fish is below sea level, so 0 would be at sea level. And that's it.